Look at the toes. Like straight
Yeah, he's like half of every word.
dude, I was like perfect.
So that we can get the meeting started? Kirsten.
Sorry about that. Suddenly picked up really fast. Oh.
I'm going to switch to a firefighter.
Oh. I didn't see you guys here. I didn't even see the guys in the front. They all snuck in.
All right, we're missing 2 council members here. If we can have them come in so we can get started. I think we have Councilmember Early and Councilmember Orozco somewhere. Find them. Have them come in. We have children that are here ready to go home. Okay, now that we have most of the council members present, I call to order the May 6th meeting of the City of West Sacramento City Council, West Sacramento Redevelopment Agency, Finance Authority, and we have a couple council members that are on their way in. We will begin with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that the land on which we live, work, learn, and commune is the original homelands of the indigenous people of West Sacramento, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We acknowledge and we thank the original inhabitants who have occupied, maintained, and secured this place, and who still exist on this land. We respect and celebrate the many diverse indigenous peoples still connected to this land on which we gather. The council did not meet in closed session. We would like to invite our guests to join the council and staff in the pledge, and we will have one of our firefighters, Greg Fonts. Please come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Surprise, surprise.
Can I nominate a probationary firefighter?
So you got it.
I believe in you. Poor guy. Sure.
Yes.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. Firefighter, probationary firefighter, would you please state your name for the record? Thank you so much. Appreciate you. As is noted on our agenda, City Council is prohibited by state law from discussing or taking any action on items that are brought up under item 1 for public comment, but it provides an important opportunity for a public forum. And the public is given this opportunity to address City Council on items not on the agenda. So we do ask anyone wishing to address the council on this or any other item this evening to please fill out a request to speak card and turn it into the clerk. And, once we have, in addition to any other agenda items, once the staff report has been read and the item is opened up for public comment, the clerk will call your name up and also for public comment. And in front of the clerk, there is a clock, a timer to ensure that everybody has a chance to be heard. So please track the timer. And we also ask that all comments be limited to 3 minutes here, so that's how much time you'll have. And in addition to that, there's an analog flip chart showing which item we are on in the agenda. And we do ask that for some, speaking in public can cause anxiety. So we request that there be no applause, boos, or catcalls or other demonstrations. Furthermore, so that we may maintain a civil discourse here in the chambers, we ask that those in attendance and those who address the City Council abide by the Code of Conduct, posted and not speak in loud, threatening, offensive, abusive, or other disrespectful language that disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting. When that does happen, we will gavel down and call a recess until things are back in order. Now this brings us to item 1, on presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the council, and each person has 3 minutes to speak. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak?
Yes, ma'am, we have 3 requests. Guy Stevenson. response back instead of sliding it under the desk or whatever they want to do, round file it. And I really don't have too much faith in certain people that are city council members, which is fine. I don't care. What I do care about is when I've been talking about these food vendors that don't have a license, that don't get the health department or nothing, and they're making $2,000 or $3,000 a weekend, but nobody's doing anything with the city. Now, here's the good part. The good part is I was referred to as a racist by one of your employees in this building. And I know who it is, and I don't care what he says, because he can't say that it wasn't said, because this is a body cam. Everything outside of here, when I talk to anybody, I don't care who they are, they're being recorded. That way they can't turn around down the way and say, oh, I never said that. So I don't care. What I do care about is that when I come in here, I try to be peaceful, calm, but it's hard to do because I think that some people just don't care. You know what I mean? And then the other thing is buying this piece of lot that you guys want to buy over by Sutter Health Park. That area that the city is going to do, they're going to end up spending more money because it's a contaminated area. So why would you buy something like that? Or I should be asking Aaron that. Why would you spend $3 million on a contaminated lot?
That is an item that's on the agenda, and so comments should be
Yes,
made
public
at that
comment is
time.
on items not on the agenda, but you can always put
Yeah,
a
that's
request to
fine.
speak.
Anyway, I'll change course. And then the other thing with this VIA, this guy urinating on somebody's yard, nothing was ever done about it. You know, that's a joke business. That's another one of Aaron's projects. You know, I don't agree with him. I've watched stuff that you would not believe. And every time I brought up anything with VIA, oh, there's nothing wrong with VIA. VIA is a wonderful company. No, it really isn't. Because a company that owns it are in New York. How would they be able to find out what they're doing here in West Sacramento? They're not. So I'm pushing that issue. And I'm pushing it hard. And every time I come in here, if I got to bring 30 people in here, I'm going to bring them in here about VIA. VIA is not a good transportation. They're dangerous. And they don't care. You know what I mean? So you people can do what you want. I don't agree with the politics.
Thank you.
Michael Root.
Good evening. I got a few issues that don't seem to get addressed. One is the traffic. They need to get out and do some things, and I'm in the state streets. I've been passed in the bike lane. I've been passed in the passing lane. People fly down the neighborhood, and it doesn't seem to get too much police presence in there, so that, you know, just putting up a speed trailer doesn't really help. Somebody needs to get in there and write some tickets. Another thing is I got an issue with the building department and the code enforcement, and I keep getting a runaround back and forth between the two of them. I have a neighbor or a house that they're flipping next door to me, and we have joint sewer lines. And I was told that I came and addressed the building department last September about it. The hole got left open until February. The contractor or non-contractor, there was some guy came in and cut into the sewer line, that's my sewer line too, on a Saturday, and backfilled it on a Saturday. And when I talked to the building inspector the next one I saw come and do a building, he didn't want to have anything to do with it. He told me that it was code enforcement. I got a hold of code enforcement. Code enforcement tells me that it's the building department. I got back a hold of the building department. They tell me that it's a code enforcement. I've sent pictures. I've talked to people, and it continues to go back and forth. I've left messages. I left a message again yesterday to find out what the status was, and nothing's happening. Okay. Another thing is I'm really unhappy with the situation that ended up coming up with our sewer rates and our water rates going up, okay? I looked into it and I see that the city signed away our right-of-way charges that we could have been charging the regional water for coming through our regional sanitation district for coming through the city, and it got all signed away in 2021. We were told in 2007 that by letting them come and put a pipeline through the city, that our sewer rates and everything were going to stay low. I know none of you guys were on the council or anything back then, but that was what we were told as residents of the city. So now here we sit and our rates are going up. Okay, I mean it's not a lot, but it's a big percentage. So, and also when I read into the addendum that we signed, that we joined the regional, we're in charge, or we're on the hook for everything else that will come up with the regional, and that's from Folsom and Natomas and anything that goes wrong over there, because it's part of a joint deal, we're going to be part of the problem. We're going to be on the hook for it, so.
Thank you. There might be somebody here who can help with the code enforcement.
Okay, I'd love to. I've talked to building and code enforcement.
Can you go around this way, and there'll be somebody there who can meet you?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, our community development director, Andrea Alice, is getting up right now. She can help you. Thank you.
Samuel Ramos.
It's regarding Three Sisters Garden, but I didn't put it as.
Oh, the clerk, can you follow up with the clerk on that? Yes, if you can wait.
We have no other requests to speak.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Next is Agenda Item 2 under presentations. We're going to start off with the proclamation of the West Sacramento City Council recognizing May 4th as 2026 is International Firefighters Day. We have many firefighters here today, and I want to, get you, up front first before you have a call and you're all having to take off. And we have our chief and our.
Yeah, a lot of these firefighters are on probation. They don't know what to do right now.
Hey, that's great.
Come on up with me. Yeah, we're all
So,
in this
Chief,
together.
I'm going to start off with reading the proclamation, and then we'll go into your remarks and the council's remarks, and then we'll go down and take a photo. So whereas International Firefighters Day is observed annually on May 4th to recognize the sacrifice of firefighters around the world who dedicate their lives to the protection of life, property, and the environment. And whereas the men and women of West Sacramento Fire Department exemplify valor, professionalism in their service, responding to emergencies, disasters, and medical calls with skill, courage, and compassion, while carrying forth the memory of those who have fallen in the line of duty. And whereas the City of West Sacramento extends its deepest gratitude to the members of our fire service and their families, acknowledging their daily contributions to public safety and the well-being of our community. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of West Sacramento hereby recognizes May 4th, 2026 as International Firefighters Day in West Sacramento, and encourages all residents to honor and thank the firefighters who serve our city with unwavering dedication and bravery. Chief, you have the mic.
Yeah, wow, what a turnout here. I don't know if I've seen this before. Thank you for being here. Yes. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm Steve Binns. I'm the fire chief here for the City of West Sacramento. I want to sincerely thank you for presenting this proclamation recognizing International Firefighters Day and honoring the men and women of the West Sacramento Fire Department. We truly appreciate you taking the time to recognize the hard work, professionalism, and dedication of our firefighters and our staff. The firefighters of West Sacramento, along with our administrative team, take great pride in serving the community. As fire chief, I am both proud and humbled by their unwavering commitment, integrity, and compassion. Every day they answer the call to serve others, often during some of the most difficult moments in someone's lives. But they aren't just going to fires. They are educators, healthcare providers, and so much more. The partnership between the City Council, city leadership, our firefighters, and most importantly, our residents is what allows these firefighters to do the work that they do. The support and trust, it's never easy.
Call a firefighter.
Call 911. I think we're back up and running. The support and trust from our residents means so much to us and is something that we never take for granted. Our department remains deeply committed to professionalism, training, preparedness, and compassionate service. As our city continues to grow and evolve, we will continue working every day to meet those needs with dedication, pride, and a strong sense of responsibility and community. On behalf of the entire West Sacramento Fire Department, impressive here, I'd like to thank you again for this recognition, for your partnership, and for the trust you place in us to keep the West Sacramento community safe. It is truly a pleasure of mine to be the fire chief and work with such great people. Now, I'd like to turn it over to two of our finest, Captain Tom Bernard and Captain Greg Fonts.
Mark, thanks, Chief. Good evening. Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Tom Bernard, West Sac Fire. I'm our association vice president. I'll just say a few words. On behalf of the West Sacramento Fire Association, we want to express our heartfelt gratitude to Mayor and all City Council members, along with City Manager Aaron Laurel, for this meaningful proclamation recognizing International Firefighters Day. This acknowledgement is deeply appreciated by all of us who serve the community. Every day, our firefighters respond to emergencies with the understanding that our mission is simple but profound: to protect lives, safeguard property, and serve the people of West Sacramento with professionalism, compassion, and unwavering commitment. Today's proclamation honors that mission and reinforces why we do this work. We want to also recognize our families who support us through every shift, every call, every challenge. Their sacrifice makes it possible for us to serve, and they share in this recognition as much as we do. To the community members we serve, thank you for your continued trust. Your support motivates us to train harder, respond faster, and always strive to be worthy of the responsibility placed upon us. And finally, we honor the firefighters here in West Sacramento and around the world who have given their lives in the line of duty. Their legacy reminds us of the importance of our calling, and this proclamation helps ensure their sacrifices are never forgotten. Thank you again, City Council and staff, for this recognition. It's our privilege to serve the city, and we remain committed to protecting it with courage, integrity, and dedication. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain.
Good evening. I'm going to give it another year, but I may offer a friendly modification of the resolution because we seem to have an oddly high amount of firefighters running around saying, "May the 4th be with you," not realizing it's actually also International Firefighter Day. So I'll wait a year on that one. It's been a good week for the West Sacramento firefighters. Just last week, we had 2 firefighters in Long Beach drafting resolutions and passing them. Some of them will eventually be state legislation that will affect over 35,000 firefighters. And for the first time, we actually had an author from West Sacramento in combination with 1014 and Dr. Eric Irwin from Los Angeles County Fire pass unanimous resolution for a pilot program for firefighter detox to potentially address the PFAS issues and some of the forever chemicals we face. So last week was great. This week's even greater. We're reading this resolution as well as honoring one of our own, Captain Miguel Altamirano, for his acts off duty. And I would truly say that we do have the best firefighters here. I think just between the caliber that we have and what we're doing every day in the community is unmatched. The last thing I would like to do is thank the citizens and the city leadership. At a time when neighboring departments are shutting down stations and browning out rigs and doing all other things to public safety, we are the strongest we've ever been. We continue to be the strongest we've ever been. And I look forward to seeing what happens in this great city and with the fire department. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Pass it on to my colleagues for a few remarks. Who would like to begin? Sharing a few remarks? Yes. Councilmember Orozco.
Thank you. Over the last 10 years that I've served this community, it is the greatest honor to see so many amazing people standing before all of us in our city council chambers. The last time we were here was under less fortunate circumstances. We were in a different state of mind, in a different emotional state. Today we're here to celebrate. I will just say, I'll keep it short, but it's been an honor and a pleasure to see us grow together. And, you know, as far as I just mentioned, we've mourned together. We have celebrated and served and protected together. We have brought families together during the holidays with our incredible Santa Claus, who is often changing hands with the probationers. And you did a fantastic job this year. And more importantly, you guys have all laid down your lives on the line in order to preserve the most valuable asset people have, which is their life savings and their families. And so those are memories for every single West Sacramentan. I, too, as just was said, look forward to what our department can become. I also want to particularly give regards and celebrate Captain Altamirano for an honor that he shall receive. This is indeed the best department in the region, and I'm proud to sit here as your council member to say that with my colleagues. Congratulations.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Hello. It's wonderful to have our West Sac Fire family in front of us here today to celebrate you. I actually brought a prop. I have a 5-year-old in kindergarten, and his teacher assigns us family projects. And so I built a leprechaun trap. I was building an ocean diorama, but last year the assignment was neighborhood heroes, and he was given a template, and unprompted, he did not choose the neighborhood city council member as his mom being the neighborhood hero. He chose his local firefighter, Station 45, our home station. This was unprompted. He chose the firefighter, and this, I think, says everything. You are loved by this community. You are looked up to by our kids. You are the people that run into danger when people run away from. You put your lives, you put your health on the line to serve our community and to make us safer every day. Your job is stressful, gritty, dangerous, exhausting, and sometimes heartbreaking, and yet every single day you continue to show up and you do your best. And then you go home and you have family obligations and you do advocacy work and you do leadership training and you do volunteer work and you do all these things that make our community better. And then you come back and you do it all over again. You are absolute rock stars, and I'm grateful we get to take a moment to recognize and celebrate you today. And beyond that, I wanted to take a minute to thank you and recognize each of you guys for your work in stepping up and supporting Measure O. The fire department has already seen some of the benefits from Measure O, from contract negotiations to new gym equipment and to bringing back Engine 45. But as a council member and a resident here in West Sacramento, I get to see the benefits of Measure O throughout the entire community, and you have really, our partnership really has changed the future of what West Sacramento looks like. You were on camera, you came to events, you walked precincts, you dropped lit. How many houses did we hit? 10,000, 12,000, 1738 around the community. It was incredible partnering with each and every one of you. And not everybody was immediately sold on their vision at first. Everybody hating, but we just call them fans though, because now people are seeing the impact. We have some cities, like was mentioned, that are facing deficits and cutting services, and West Sacramento is adding road maintenance teams, firefighters, police officers. We are growing because of the investments we made together. We could not have done it without you. You are a great squad. And on behalf of this entire community, thank you. We appreciate each and every one of you. And I would like to take a moment to recognize Greg Fonts and what he spoke about at last week's firefighter convention. You were the author. Congratulations. Thank you for your work on that. And Captain Altamirano, so honored that we get to recognize you for just being you. So thank you all for being here tonight.
All right. Councilmember Early?
Yeah. So I will be brief because my colleagues have said many of the sentiments that I think all of us hold, particularly me. This is, as Greg noted, the strongest fire department in this entire region. I say that with my full chest because I know it to be the case. I am so proud of the work that we've been able to accomplish together. I think it is unique to have the kinds of relationship and partnership we have with you all. The work that you do to keep our community safe is critically important. And I hope now, after our few years of being together, you know our commitment to you all and to our entire community and how integral you are to West Sacramento. So thank you so much. I would also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Emiliano Rosas for being here with the proclamation, and so I want to make sure we give time and space for you as well. But in the meantime, thank you for all the work that you do, and I appreciate being able to have this day to just take a pause, and that you guys can take a pause to hear from us, to hear from the community, and know how important you are. Lastly, I will also mention Measure O because, man, how do we not? Recently, I saw a post from City of West Sac talking about the housing work that is now happening in helping to address our homelessness and be able to give the supports, the wraparound services for those who are unhoused. It goes beyond the supports that we've been able to do with our fire department, our police department. It is huge for our community, and I really don't know how much folks really understand how that wouldn't have happened if you all, every single one of you, hadn't stepped up during what was a extremely difficult time for our department and our city. And so thank you for going beyond, above and beyond to make that happen, because it wasn't only about you, as you always serve, right? Everyone else above you all, it was about this entire community, and we would not have what we have had you all not been in partnership with us. So thank you so much. Oh, and Emiliano?
No, wait a minute, please.
okay.
I have a
She said
council
no.
member.
Yeah,
I have a
I got
council
you.
member that would like to speak.
I don't know nothing.
Just briefly, I just want to say thank you for your courage and your bravery in keeping us all safe. That was short.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I didn't know, Emiliano, what was it you were going to do? I was not informed.
Neither was I, but I saw him with the
Oh,
thing,
I
and
don't-
made several assumptions.
You have
My
something?
bad.
Yes.
All right, go ahead and, it's a separate proclamation for who? It's for Captain Altamirano. We're doing that separately. All right. Yeah, we have a separate proclamation for him. I'll be taking care of that. If you wanted to have a seat for a minute, that'll be great. And yes, of course, I want to say thank you to our dedicated firefighters, our courageous firefighters who, you know, what I see you've done in our community is a major transformation. In interacting with you over the years, it has been your passion to make this a better community. In sitting in your trucks, doing a ride-along here and there, hearing your stories and, you know, seeing you interact with the people directly, you know who the people are. You know what their stories are. And there are people who are time and time again asking for your help, asking for a lift assist, or asking for support, you know, in whatever it is their emergent need is. And your dedication, your understanding, but also, you know, in listening to Greg Fonts and Miguel and, you know, the Firefighter Association, your essential need, taking care of yourselves, you know, is incredibly important to all of us as well. And you put the fight up for everybody in the community, making sure that not only did you have the resources to deliver the most qualified, the most quality resource out to the community, you know, meeting the needs and the demands, but also just understanding that there was this gap over the years. There was this gap when we made a cut of a fire engine, and that fire engine had to be restored. And your tenacity has put all this council behind you. And I want to remind everybody that that's what happened. Your fight, your dedication, your perseverance has kept us all in line. And that's what leadership is about. That's the leadership you have driven here in our community. And you have a great chief, you have a great, association leadership. Continuing to work together is incredibly important. Whatever your needs are, we will listen as well as your chief will listen. We want to make sure, and we all try to close these loops and making sure that this communication is continuous and occurring, because we are not done. We have much more to do. We have a lot more to get, accomplished. And yes, Measure O continues to get funded. So continue to put your asks on the table, your needs. We know, because of you all being on the front line and delivering, is making sure that we are doing our job to help you deliver. So I appreciate the chief and the association and listening to each of you, when I have a chance, to know what it is that we need to do to be the best representative for our community. So thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you. And I think we have you after the next proclamation. So we'll go down and take a photo.
Are you guys getting in the picture? We're gonna get in there. Okay, okay. Can I move? No? No. Here's underneath it. Okay. All right, everybody in there, can you come up just a little bit? Yep. And you're gonna look this way, okay? Don't try to hide. All right. On three. 1, 2, 3. Stay there. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you.
Hey, how about we all just stand back here for the next one too? Okay.
Miguel, come on up. We have the, yes, please come on up, if you can. That'll be great.
She's hiding back there.
Does she want to come on up?
If you call her up, I bet she'll.
Oh, Stephanie?
And then Connor also.
Debbie and Robert. Please, stand over here. Where's Stephanie?
Okay, this is awkward.
Stephanie. We're all in this together. Come on up and stand. Please stand next to. This is a family thing. This is a special occasion. When I heard about this story, I thought maybe this is important that we need to recognize separately. And the opportunity for us to do this today with all of you present, to make sure that we recognize, courage and leadership in taking care of those that are in need. And I'm going to read this proclamation. This is a mayoral proclamation. Whereas Captain Miguel Altamirano has faithfully served the West Sacramento Fire Department since December 2005, dedicating nearly 21 years to protecting and supporting his community. And whereas for the past 9 years, he has served as a captain, earning the respect of his peers through his leadership, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to service. And whereas Captain Altamirano takes great pride in his role and remains motivated by a desire to make a positive impact by mentoring fellow firefighters and serving the community, he approaches his work with humility and a constant drive to make things better, and he rubs his head a lot. And whereas on December 20th, 2025, Captain Altamirano's commitment was exemplified while off-duty at his home in the Stonegate neighborhood, working on his truck when he noticed his neighbors Robert and Debbie at the end of his driveway. Recognizing that something was wrong, he approached and quickly assessed that Robert was unconscious, suffering from a head injury, and had no pulse. And whereas Captain Altamirano immediately stepped in, calmly relaying critical information and beginning the life-saving measures while Debbie was already on the phone with dispatch. He continued providing care until emergency crews arrived and took over, at which point Robert regained a pulse and was transported to the hospital. He's here with us, and a miracle. Whereas during the incident, Captain Altamirano's fiancée, Stephanie, you're here too, provided support and comfort to Debbie, and later assisted her to the hospital. Even after the emergency, Captain Altamirano and Stephanie remained in contact with the family beyond the moment of crisis. And whereas while responding to emergencies is part of Captain Altamirano's profession, his willingness to act decisively while off duty reflects his exceptional character and dedication. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Martha Guerrero, Mayor of West Sacramento, hereby recognizes Captain Altamirano for his selfless service, professionalism, and enduring commitment to the safety and well-being of the community. Proclaimed today, and I think we have another proclamation. Why don't you come on up and come on over here? And if you'd like to read yours as well.
Of course. Good evening, everybody. For one, happy National Firefighter Appreciation Week. Captain, in recognition of your 21 years of dedicated service to the West Sacramento Fire Department and your distinguished commitment to selfless service and willingness to act decisively while off duty reflects your exceptional character and dedication to public service and the well-being of citizens in West Sacramento. So on behalf of the California State Senate and Senator Christopher Cabaldon, I do have a certificate of recognition for you for your amazing actions. So, Captain.
Do you guys want to say anything?
Okay.
No obligation whatsoever.
Yeah, you're just being yourself.
Well,
Maybe let me take this down a little bit for you. It's already.
Just not really good at speaking, so please bear with me. But I want to thank each and every one of you for being the people that you are and in the positions that you are. Until last year, we saw the fire trucks. We saw, you guys working, in a distance. But to see you guys who came to help my husband, Robert, it was purely amazing feat that you guys went in there, and you were like a precision. You were a machine. I compare it to NASCAR, the pit. You went in there and you were working on my husband, and you knew exactly what you were doing, and because of what you guys did, he's here. He's here. So if you ever have any doubt if what you're doing is making a difference, it's just think of Robert, because, the work you do is amazing, and I did not realize that until the day you saved my husband's life. And I want to thank Miguel and Stephanie especially for being there. I don't know, he got really good at picking the right house to, fall down. But you two have been amazing. It was, unfortunately to me, it was such a blur. But Miguel and Stephanie, you will always be in our hearts. You really will. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Since we're doing
All right, look right here in the middle.
All right, and finally. So next is a proclamation recognizing May 2026 as May is Bike Month in the city of West Sacramento. We have Pearson Rohr with the baby.
He's getting so big.
Oh my goodness, yes he is. I'm going to read it really fast, okay? Whereas millions of Americans engage in bicycling because it is an effective form of exercise and viable and environmentally sound mode of transportation and a fun and sociable activity accessible to people of all ages, fitness levels, and incomes. And whereas bicycle transportation is an essential part of the planned multimodal transportation system funded by federal, state, regional, and local agencies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, improve the livability of communities, and reducing traffic noise and congestion, and boost public transit ridership by encouraging riders to traverse the last mile between stations and destinations. And whereas the city of West Sacramento has previously completed vital investments in support of bicycling, including the Riverwalk, the Washington District Sustainable Community Infrastructure Project, the Barge Canal Trail, West Capitol Avenue separated bicycle lanes, and Sycamore Trail Phase 1 and 2 projects, opening the city's first bike and pedestrian freeway overpass in 2025. And whereas the City of West Sacramento recognizes our Transportation, Mobility, and Infrastructure Commission for continuing to evaluate residents' needs for traveling around the city, and whereas the city also recognizes Sacramento area bicycle advocates for celebrating and increasing public awareness of May as Bike Month. This campaign educates the community about the benefits of cycling for well-being, the environment, and cost-saving measures. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council in the City of West Sacramento does hereby recognize May 2026 as May is Bike Month. Pearson, yay. Thank you for representing today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Mayor and assembled council members for having me here today. On behalf of Sacramento area bicycle advocates, the greater cycling community, and of course the Transportation, Mobility, and Infrastructure Commission, of which we get so much wonderful information about the works of the city. As another May is upon us, we move into the season in our city where we just want to get out of the house and explore. Depending on where you live, that could be a easy and safe experience, leaving you wanting more, or it could be hot, complicated, and dangerous, leading families to swear off their bikes and just take the car next time. Here in West Sacramento, we're blessed with city leaders and public servants that back up proclamations like this with real positive changes in the experience of those choosing to travel unhindered by a 4,000-pound vehicle, or the experience of finding parking for that vehicle. Every May, it seems like we have more options on how to get around, and more residents who are relieved that they never again have to take that dangerous intersection or high-stress bottleneck in their regular school pickups, bike commutes, or daily park visits with their kids. There's so much in store for us in our Bike Pedestrian Trails Master Plan, a document that's full of projects that we'll be able to see completed before this little guy leaves for college. This only happens through the hard work of city leaders and staff planning with the community, constantly applying for grants and funding, and making partnerships with local agencies and following through with great work. Much like the forest is not only a safe refuge for one species, but for every animal that calls it home, bike lanes and safe infrastructure in our city also create safe travel routes for scooters, powered wheelchairs, skateboards, one-wheels, and whatever else will be invented in the near future. Thank you all for planting those trees that you yourself may never sit in the shade of. The generation growing up in West Sacramento right now will smile in the future and know that those running the city, when they were just starting to walk, were doing the right thing and creating a legacy that makes life happier. So, thank you so much. And we hope that everyone can join us at the Breathe Bike Festival this weekend, and really enjoy May's Bike Month. We've got Saba has 1 million activities going on, and thank you so much for your commitment to cycling and basically everything, smaller than that too. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And open it up for council for any comments. Councilmember Early.
One, impressive. I know. Yay! Socks. Are there socks? Socks?
Oh, great. I love your socks.
Every year. So I do want to say that it was the commitment of not only this council, but councils before us, to safe transportation and bike lanes, and really ensuring that those who want alternative modes of transportation have them in our community. I remember, in 2014, wanting to ride my bike when I worked downtown Sacramento, wanting to ride my bike from Southport all the way down, and feeling like it was dangerous, quite frankly, to do that from start to finish. And the work that again, was done before us, as well as a lot of commitment and investments that this council has done, makes me very, very proud. And I think now, as I look around and look at those pathways, like I could ride my bike. In fact, I'm going to downtown because it really does connect. And so, thank you for your commitment. Thank you for the bike rodeo, and for being a great dad.
Thank you. I have a lot of support.
Yes. And happy Mother's Day. I see you, Mom.
Sure, Councilmember Alcala.
Really quick, I want to just thank you so much for promoting a healthier and green lifestyle. And I'm going to say that with the price of gasoline right now, I think a lot more people are going to be using those bikes. Thank you.
Yep. Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm happy to.
Yes, go ahead.
You nailed it with the Bike Pedestrian Trails Master Plan and the thought that went into that. That was first adopted in 1990, which was 3 years after incorporation. Our city has been on the forefront of creating safe ways for people to get around our community without cars. At any time, I can throw my kids in the Burley cart and ride to a park safely. And I tell you, I love me a protected bike lane. It makes me feel so good to be in West Sacramento because we can get around, we can move our family places outside of a car. And so thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for work with Saba and the commission, and just being such a beautiful advocate for biking and families and all the great things that make West Sacramento great. So thank you for being here tonight, and happy May is Bike Month.
Councilmember Orozco.
Thank you, Mayor. Year after year, I have the great honor of seeing you come, and now I see your family grow, and now a little bike, okay? Honestly, we don't just look forward to the socks and bag, even though that bag is perfect because of the long arms. Honestly, to see what the city has become in the last several years, in the last decade now. We do. Been there, right? So, and Councilmember Early just reminded me that, there's a story I always say, which is when we first started out, we had a long caboose of children because I had 4. So it's my husband that would lead us off, and then the girls, and then the boys, and I'd be at the tail end. But it was so long, this big snake going through West Sacramento, and to go down 5th Street under the underpass, and to always worry about the traffic that was passing by, and not knowing whether or not they would be friendly to the bicyclists. And this is my life. This is the entire caboose was my family. and to know that over time, we have had the wonderful fortune of seeing what that investment could look like. And now seeing people, as if it's second nature, going over the Sycamore Trail overpass, in the Fifth Street widening, to see some of the amenities and to really enjoy the joy and wonder of getting out of our cars, taking a nice stroll, and really enjoying what West Sacramento's beauty is all about. Your advocacy speaks volumes. I appreciate your taking time away from probably bedtime right now in order to be here with us tonight. Your work pays off. That little bike, I hope it's ridden and creates lots of memories, and I look forward to seeing him come back every year along with you as we enjoy this wonderful proclamation.
And I just want to say thank you so much also for your leadership on the Transportation Mobility Commission, which your experience, your knowledge, and together with Saba, who's been just a regional partner, to be able to have this seamless, not only here in West Sacramento, but in the Sacramento area and abroad. We want people to just get out of their cars, and you get that. You are persistent. And I love the fact that, when we had the Youth Climate Action Fund, to be able to get kids the experience and the skills to be able to ride their bikes safely on their own. Being able to see how kids are very distracted and how dangerous it could be on the road if they don't have those skills, but also just the basics of knowing how to be on a bicycle and ride it safely. So the mechanics of a bicycle, I learned a lot from you. My grandson never forgot. He remembers everything. And I'm just really grateful for all that you've done, taking your time volunteering and doing that work and partnering with our schools and with our entire community. So, I know you're behind a major legacy of what we've accomplished over the years here in West Sacramento. So really grateful that you're building it for our children's future. So thank you for bringing your son here today and his little bike. And we're going to go down and take a quick picture. We want that bike and your grandson and family in there too. All right, now we have our consent agenda, items 4 through 18. Is this the right binder?
4 through 16.
4 through 16. Yeah, 4 through 16, sorry. And are there any requests to remove an agenda item? No? I do want to pull 10 for some clarification and questions. For now, really quick. Let's see. Mr. City Manager, do you want to take the questions?
Sure, I can take questions on 10.
Okay, thank you. So what we have here is an agenda item on a property that we are ready to purchase, and there are a number of issues that I've read into this particular property, which I think is a very good strategic move on the city's administration's part to explore this particular property. I hate to put you on the spot, Councilmember Orozco, but you raised a good point when you were driving down Fifth Street with your caboose. Would you share a little more about what that was like growing up here in West Sacramento?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Phone here. The area around the riverfront has changed, as we all know. For the West Sacramento residents who have been here for a long time, you've seen the complexion change and the investments that the city has made in making it a lot more bike-friendly and pedestrian-friendly. We envision a city where we can have folks actually enjoy the amenities without having to get in the car and add to the congestion and the high density of this area. Essentially, the vision, and I believe I share that with Madam Mayor, and the rest of the council, is that we could have a healthy, thriving city that has a heartbeat that's climate friendly, that's healthy for our bodies as well as our environment. And that really does lead to the connection and interconnectivity in the community that we can bring together. We have a fantastic amenity in District 2, which is our ballpark. It has the ability to feed into local businesses, the people that come here from everywhere, to stay in our hotels in the area, to invest in our restaurants, to put their tax dollars into West Sacramento, to help us deal with some of the issues that come along with housing a phenomenal amenity in the city, but also to reinvest into people's people who put their life savings on the line in order to put their money into businesses here, to invest where they live and where they're raising their children. And so what I saw over the last 10 years was the city making a concerted effort to invest on the Fifth Street roadway widening project, and that would allow people, not only in cars, but on their bikes and on their feet, to walk straight toward the ballpark and enjoy a game if they should choose so, without having to worry about their livelihood being in peril. And that also goes for people who are local commuters that just want to go into the city of Sacramento to go to work. And I've done that myself, where I've jumped on the bike, put the helmet on, and gone over to the DA's office in order to get some work done. It's hard on the outfit, but it's great for the environment and great for my body. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Very good. Thank you, Council Member, for that experience in your district. And this agenda item is meant to fulfill what the city has been planning, as you mentioned, over the years, or the general plan document, where we took a look, and also the mobility action plan, which amended that, and that mobility action plan is an award-winning mobility action plan, and it's as a result of keeping the city safe, getting people out of their cars, utilizing both micromobility. We have the plans for a light rail up there. That's always been the plan, is to get people out of their cars, especially in the Bridge District, and to keep it safe. And we're not gonna pause, because it's not safe. We're gonna continue to grow. We're gonna be proactive, and grateful for the staff who saw this opportunity and are, guiding us with the proper investments. The financing is pretty clear. The financing is specific for this district, and it's being reinvested in the priority of keeping our city safe, keeping our folks who want to get out of their cars safely driving through the Bridge District. And in addition to that, we have, if anybody takes a look at our strategic plan on the wall, we have on the wall, what's included is a Major League Baseball expansion exploration. When staff prepare a report, they look at all the documents in our city, all the documents that, these are all approved documents by the City Council, and they incorporate that in the analysis for transparency to make that connection. So when we take a look at a strategic plan, a strategic priority, and that's incorporated, it is part of that overall strategy. Nothing more than that. It's an analysis that is prepared by staff that does a great job in providing that transparency on the present and the future of what we're taking a look at in the Bridge District. So, Mr. City Manager, did you want to elaborate a little more on that?
No, excuse me, I think the council comments cover it quite well. This property, as you mentioned, is primarily being acquired using Bridge District IFD funds for the future roadway improvements. post-acquisition, the city will pursue some light demolition. We'll address the cleanup issues that exist at the property. There may be some interim use, service parking, improving potentially a mural on the south side of the property. And long-term, it does have development potential for mixed-use development consistent with the Bridge District plan. So if you had any specific questions on any of that, I can answer those.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. So you're right, an eyesore and a public health issue that we are trying to remediate along the Bridge District, which we want to make it a more vibrant, family-friendly, and safe place to be. So thank you so much for your effort. Greatly appreciate all the work you've done to achieve that.
Thank you.
I'll accept a motion to approve the consent.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. Madam Clerk, Councilmember Orozco moved, and Mayor Pro Tem Cepizio seconded. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Alcala.
Aye.
Councilmember Early.
Aye.
Councilmember Orozco.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Sulpicio Hall.
Aye.
Mayor Guerrero.
Aye. Thank you so much, council members. Next is item 17 under the city manager's office is a workshop on options for the future use of the city-owned property at 427 C Street and 317 Fifth Street. And we have Doug presenting. Hi, Doug. You sound so shy.
Am I on now? Yep.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
Our Deputy
Good
City
evening, Mayor
Manager.
and City Council. Doug Droz, Deputy City Manager. Thank you for the introduction. So this item is a workshop on the future use of the city-owned properties at 427C and 317 Fifth Street, commonly referred to as the Fifth and C property. The purpose of this item is to provide council with the history and context of the property, as well as to present options for the future use of it and to receive council's direction to staff. To be clear, this is a workshop only, with no council action associated with this item other than any direction the council may wish to provide this evening. The Fifth and C property is a roughly half-acre site in the Washington District. It was originally acquired by the city in the 1990s. It was the site of a former gas station, and so the city and Redevelopment Agency worked to remediate contamination on the site and ready it for future development. It was vacant for several years afterwards, but in 2014, as part of that year's strategic plan item titled Food Hub Activities, the property was selected for use as part of the city's urban farm pilot program. This program was intended as a way to activate certain vacant city-owned properties with transitional interim use as urban farms. Subsequently, the city entered into a lease agreement with the Center for Land-Based Learning to operate the site as a pilot urban farm until future redevelopment of the site became feasible. The lease with the Center for Land-Based Learning was transitioned to a month-to-month term in 2021, and that lease was then transferred to Three Sisters Gardens in 2024. The property is zoned mixed-use neighborhood commercial, zoning which is intended to support housing, retail, and walkable neighborhood services. Given its location, the site does represent a viable infill development opportunity, particularly as the Washington District continues to evolve and we see more and more interest in infill housing development in the surrounding area. As the council is aware, over the past year and a half or so, Three Sisters Gardens has been petitioning the city to consider a change in the terms of the lease, citing the month-to-month term as a barrier to the construction of permanent facilities on the property. Three Sisters has requested a 10-year lease at no cost with 10-year options for extensions in order to construct permanent facilities, make improvements to the property, and expand their programming. Councilmember Alcala requested a future agenda item to consider this request, which the council approved and is why we are here tonight. Three Sisters' request raises a broader policy consideration for the council, which is, should the site become a long-term urban farm, or should the city retain the flexibility to transition the site toward redevelopment consistent with its zoning? In response to that question, staff have identified three primary options for the council to consider. As the council deliberates this evening in this workshop format, it is possible other options could emerge, but to the best of our thinking, we have three to present to you for consideration. First would be to approve the Three Sisters Garden request for a long-term no-cost lease. This would presumably allow Three Sisters to expand their investment and programming on the site, including construction of permanent structures. However, it would likely preclude redevelopment of the site for at least that initial 10-year term, but more than likely, if they're making improvements and building structures, then it would be a urban farm in perpetuity. This would not generate any direct revenue for the city and may have implications related to housing policy and the State Surplus Land Act, which requires a priority for housing. Second, the council could consider a longer-term lease at a market rate. This would maintain the use as an urban farm while providing some financial return to the city in recognition of the site's underlying value. Based on the lease rate for similar unimproved properties charged by the Port of West Sacramento, we've calculated this roughly to be about $2,000 a month, but that could change if we analyzed it further. Again, same considerations as the first option in terms of the long-term use of the site. And then finally, the council could choose to maintain the current month-to-month structure. This would preserve maximum flexibility for the city to pursue redevelopment while allowing the use of an urban farm to continue on the site in the near term, providing benefits to residents. Obviously, this would preclude significant expansion of the Three Sisters operation on the 5th and C property. Wrapping up here at a high level, this decision comes down to 3 considerations for the council. First, what is the highest and best use of this city-owned property? Second, what is the city's approach to public asset management and subsidies for local nonprofits? And third, what precedent would this decision set for future use of city-owned properties? Staff is not recommending a specific option tonight because this is a workshop and not an actionable agenda item. However, we are seeking council direction and consensus on how you would like us to proceed with this property. If there is council consensus to change the terms of the lease, then staff can return with a more detailed analysis consistent with that direction at a future meeting. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Doug. I would like for us to have an opportunity to share any thoughts or questions now before, I don't know if there's any speakers, Madam Clerk, before I think the applicant here has submitted a request, this request. That way they have a chance to respond to anything, and then, because they won't have that chance once we close the public comment. And so, Councilmember Alcala, do you have some questions?
No, I didn't have any questions. I was just going to say that I brought this item up because I thought it was really important. The Three Sisters have their garden in District 1, and so many people benefit from Three Sisters. Our youth, who are actually paid stipends, our elderly, women who are struggling to feed their children because SNAP benefits have been cut. It's a consistent presence. And when I've gone to cap, I was on the Ag Committee this time, and everyone spoke about Three Sisters Gardens and how they wish they had something like that in their own communities. I think a 10-year lease is very important because that's the only way that you really can get funding from outside sources when you have something stable. And a 10-year lease would provide that stability. I'm very much in favor of option 1, and we're going to have some testimony. We've seen the chamber filled before, the people outside all testifying of how important Three Sisters is to the West Sacramento community. All the food they grow, the people they teach, the community that's built right there. And I believe we really need the stability of a 10-year lease for Three Sisters Gardens for them to continue this work.
All right, thank you, Councilmember. For myself, I think, Doug, you raised a few points about the infill, this being a mixed use, infill housing, opportunity. Have we met our, RENA requirements? Is there something here that, or are there other properties that could, help accomplish, or anything in the pipeline that help us accomplish those goals?
Yeah, I can address that. It's a sort of a much bigger topic when we talk about RENA numbers, and just for those unfamiliar, that's a regional housing needs allocation that gets assigned by region. The city then has a housing element that has to show that we have adequate capacity to accommodate those housing numbers in terms of growth. So it's a sort of complicated process, but we have an inventory that tracks with what those numbers are. while this site is not specifically listed in that inventory, it is zoned for housing. So it is an important resource that could be brought to bear. You know, we have several affordable housing projects that are been recently developed in that neighborhood on similarly sized lots. So while there isn't a direct connection per se to the housing element, to the broader topic of future housing considerations, it certainly is a property that could be useful for that. So I don't know if that helps.
It
answer your
does.
question. Okay.
Has there been any interest in this? I think we've seen a lot of housing development happen in this area already.
Yeah,
It's a very small piece of land. I don't know how much you can possibly build there.
well, like I said, without, you know, we've had the farm in one form or another since the very beginning of the urban farming program. So I think part of the reason we haven't listed this property for anything else, it hasn't been marketed as such. And I don't remember exactly how long it's been, but it's been quite a while that we've had it in the urban farming program, kind of the same status as it is today. I think it's safe to say that if the city council did want to pursue housing development at that site, particularly affordable housing, you look no further than just down the street at the Huddle and similar projects that have been developed recently. While it's a smaller site compared to other larger multifamily projects, it is one that could be viable down the road for housing. So, but I want to reemphasize, we have not marketed the site. We had no reason to do so because this property, as an interim use, was intended to carry forward the urban farming program. So we would probably not do that in the meantime unless there was specific council direction for that. But that kind of tracks with the status quo recommendation that would meet the intent of the original use of the property for urban farming.
Okay, thank you. And on the Surplus Land Act, if we took a look at the 10-year, how does the Surplus Land Act fit into law, fit into this 10-year?
Yeah, I'll let Jeff
Okay.
chime in as well,
Thank
but
you, Jeff.
our interpretation of the request is it's a 10-year initial lease term with an option by the tenant to extend it for another 10 years. And Jeff can speak to the specifics of the Surplus Land Act in terms of what applies given that lease term.
Okay.
Yeah, the Surplus Land Act applies for leases of more than 15 years.
Oh.
I don't have it sitting here in front of me, but I believe that is 15 years would include any extension, certainly any extension by right, so that a 10-year lease with a 10-year extension would trigger the Surplus Land Act.
I see.
But a 10-year lease without an extension would not.
Okay, very restrictive. Good to know. In taking a look at urban farms in our city, do you know how many we have?
I actually do.
Oh, good.
Well, I'm pretty confident I do. Somebody could inform me of other ones. So Three Sisters lists 3 farm operations that they operate in addition to the 5th and C lot at 317 4th Street, 700 Cummins, 485 Regatta. One of those properties is owned by the state of California. It's basically at the Indian Heritage Center site. The other is the West Sac Housing Development Corporation, and then the East Yolo Church of Christ. There are 2 others that are currently operating. 985 Riverfront is operated by the Center for Land-Based Learning on Fulcrum property. And then, depending on what address you use, either Merkley or Westacre at the Washington Unified School District location is Fiery Ginger Farms. I believe those are the only 2 other that aren't affiliated with Three Sisters.
Yeah, I've been to Fiery Ginger Farms. It's really nice. When we first established this with the Center of Land-Based Learning, the plan was to establish urban farming. Can somebody remember why we started that?
Yeah, the wind part, Amanda can remind me. It was 2014. So we were there, and I can speak to that. I was actually involved in the initial lease and setup with Center for Land-Based Learning. The whole urban farming concept was meant to be something that would be able to activate some of these lots in these areas that were otherwise just sort of recalcitrant owners or lots that were not ripe for development. So the concept was, hey, let's take some of these lots in neighborhoods that, were sort of, otherwise the property would just sit there. So it was a multi-bottom line approach. One, you had a program through Center for Land-Based Learning that offered a unique job training program similar to what Three Sisters Gardens does today, among other things. So you had that benefit. You also had the benefit of taking a lot that would otherwise be sort of a blighted property and making it something that has, visual attraction, energy that you wouldn't otherwise have. And so it was for that and some other reasons the city pursued that program in conjunction with Center for Land-Based Learning. We think it's been very successful. It's been modeled in other places. Other private property owners, including some of the ones that Doug mentioned, and public agencies as well, have added to the inventory. So at this point, the city's goal was to set up the program and hope that what would happen was exactly what happened. Other parties would take interest. So at this point, this is the only city-owned property that's under the urban farming program. But it was meant to be an interim use. It was something that once the area was ripe for the type of development that the city envisions in its general plan and other land use plans, when that time comes, it would be transitioned to a permanent use such as housing. So that's the basic history.
Very good. I liked that vision, and it turned out really well. So taking a look at what I have heard about the future of this particular land, which is the goal of the 10-year lease, was to establish structures, correct? Is that what you?
That's our understanding. When we move to public comment, you might get more of a fuller picture from Three Sisters.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point,
That's what you
we don't have a whole bunch of detail, but.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit to
Sure.
it just in terms of the city's role in that. So my understanding in talking to Alfred Melbourne over the time that he's been interested in this particular project, he can speak to the specifics of it, but essentially it would require a building permit, and to secure financing, that would be the other objective from Three Sisters Gardens. And in order to do both of those things, a long-term real estate interest is generally required. For a building permit, especially from the city, we can't issue building permits on a property that isn't under site control for a longer period of time. So I think that's the basic objective, and the feedback that we gave at the staff level was that the intent of the program was urban farms, interim use, and such, and so hence why this was a council-initiated item. And I think I would recommend hearing from the tenant about the plans to speak more to the program of what he wants to do.
Thank you, Aaron, for your insight on that. Would you elaborate on whether from when we started and taking a look at this as an urban farm to where we anticipate this might go, given our requirements for having this 10-year lease, are they similar, or does it kind of move beyond what we were anticipating?
It's definitely outside of what was anticipated at the beginning of the program. So again, these were set up as meant to be very temporary uses, just to activate a site that otherwise was not productive for really anything. And it was very successful in that. And just to give you an idea, the reason I say that is the actual structure of the real estate piece is it's more like a license agreement. The difference between a lease and a license is generally a lease is a longer term thing where the tenant has much more say over what happens with the property and can make improvements and whatnot. A license is something that is by nature, it's more like a permission to use a property that is more readily revocable. So it indicates that it's meant to be a temporary thing. So the original leases that were on the city-owned properties were structured much like license agreements. The particular agreement we have right now with Three Sisters Gardens, which they assume from Center for Land-Based Learning, I believe it's kind of like a month-to-month, but there's a longer notification period required if we're going to end the lease. I think it's 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. But it very much resembles a license agreement versus a lease, which is being requested by the tenant.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And I agree, there are some properties out there that have been vacant, say for example, the corner of Jefferson and Sacramento Avenue, where you see constant calls for, fire because there's something going on. Having vacant lands like that is not, it looks ugly. It looks ugly in our community, and I'd wish some landowners would do more to initiate something to get done. Is there a way for the future to take a look at future properties such as, like those, to transition something like this over to a property like that? I mean, that's a big piece of land that nothing has happened.
Yeah, I think there's the property you mentioned, but also, I mean, we can kind of, just brainstorm there. You can imagine in your minds that there's several vacant lots in the Washington district alone, let alone other parts of town that are privately owned. And we've tried to steer property owners and match them with, at the time, Center for Land-Based Learning, in hopes that, there would be more interest. I think, at least one of Three Sisters Gardens Farms, I believe, is a privately owned site. So I think in terms of if the question is more, are there other locations where more urban farms or something like what Three Sisters Garden is wanting to do at 5th and C could take place, I would say the answer is yes. The difference is those are sites that we don't control. We can certainly help with site identification and making contacts and whatnot. But ultimately, it's the decision of a private property owner and whether they want to participate in something like that.
Thank you. And I would like to hear from the applicant whether there is an interest in exploring other properties as well. All right, with that, if there are no other questions, yes, all right, Councilmember Early.
I'm curious, I think this is less question for Doug in our city, but I appreciated some of Councilmember Akla's comments, particularly around other jurisdictions, right? Raising, hey, we would love something like that. And so I know we have Woodland in the house tonight, and so I hope we get to hear about their investment as well and what that looks like in other cities, because I think you're absolutely right that this was something that was really launched here in West Sacramento. I was not necessarily on council in 2014, but remember Cabalden's vision around this. He absolutely was a visionary, and I think this was one of his many brainchilds, and would agree that although I don't think it was quite what he envisioned originally, I think it has been a success in that, in the same way you take a pilot and you plant the seed and you hope that it will grow and flourish throughout your city and throughout the region. And again, hopefully we get to hear from one of our council members in Yolo County about their investments. I think it's been exciting to see how it's really proliferated around our city. And so look forward to also hearing comments.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a comment?
I guess this question is for Doug. You talked a little bit in your comments about Hyacinth mixed use as being mixed use property. I was talking to a friend about this property, and we called it the corner of Main and Main, in a very active neighborhood that has a lot of future ahead of us, especially with the I Street Bridge coming in. Is there anything unique about this property that makes it ideal for an urban garden? Like, could this be picked up and moved somewhere else?
They operate urban gardens at all the sites that I named before. I think, there's plenty of opportunity on other sites that potentially aren't, on such a prominent corner in an area where, as you said, we'll have the I Street Bridge coming in soon, in an area that's zoned the way that it's zoned. I don't know of anything unique to the property that makes it especially good for an urban farm. Good is not an eloquent word, but
yeah, no, I concur. Generally, I think I'll add, though, just being there when this was first initiated, this particular site, and it was a different time. 2014 may not seem like that long ago, but the Washington district 12 years ago was not what it is today in terms of the activity, the type of development momentum we were seeing. The I Street Bridge was just kind of a concept at that point. So keep that in mind for context. So part of the initiative behind the urban farming program was having it be in a visible location. So the city happened to own that property. It was a contaminated property. Actually, it was a former gas station. So we spent some time cleaning that property up. The native soil to that site was not adequate to actually, do urban farming at the time. So Center for Land-Based Learning actually trucked in soil, and we made some site improvements. So I think in the sense of what it is today, it arguably meets all the intent of what the program was about. It's visible, and it's got suitable soil for farming now. But that doesn't diminish what the point is being made here. Is it's also a prime site for future housing, and it's at a corner where you have major infrastructure projects happening. And I think, like I said, we've had several affordable housing projects move forward that are on similarly sized lots. So I think the time is different today, but the reasons the property was selected originally was all about sort of promoting the program and hoping to encourage more property owners to step up, which happened. And I think looking at that history, it makes sense for why the farm has been so successful over the last 12 years.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, Councilmember.
Only just trying to understand, and it sort of piggybacks on Councilmember Spezo Hall's question, just in regards to the uniqueness of the property. Who pays for the water? Do we? Do the current tenants? Is that like infrastructure sort of built in, and that makes it unique?
The short answer is the tenant pays for the water. The city did have a role in that particular property in helping to fund the water connection. That's one of the big obstacles with these urban lots is a lot of them don't have a connection at all. And if they do, it's not adequate. So we actually have had a program sort of informally where if it's an urban farm use, say if it was like another property that doesn't have water connection, we'll defer the water connection fee until it's actually developed. And the farm tenant would just pay the hard cost of the connection. So this one has a water connection now. Like I said, it has the soil. The status quo use as a farm, it works and it's visible. So it's kind of a two-part answer. It's why it's it's been a good site for the current use, but it also is a long-term good site for future housing or other development.
Got it. Thank you. That was helpful.
Councilmember?
I was going to say, Doug, I know everyone has a different vision of what they'd like in that area. You don't think it's a very special site, but to many people it is. It's that one oasis, and all this concrete all over the place. And when I'm thinking of all the internships and the kids that get so excited, it's really contagious. As I said, I went to cap, and I spoke with people from the Ola Food Bank. They thought it was a great place to have it, too, because we are going to be developing that area. We have a new bridge that's going to be coming in, and it's a perfect example of showcasing, what West Sacramento can do. I can almost imagine a fabulous Three Sisters building there, with all the gardens around it and all. That is something that many people envision. I know in my district I've spoken with people about that, but that's something I think everyone in West Sacramento would be very proud about, especially in that location.
Go ahead. Okay, Councilmember.
I don't know if I'm fully understanding or reconciling the recommendations, Doug, that you provided versus what I'm seeing and making sure, for recommendation action, just for 3, I just wanted to better understand the allocation of the $30,000. Am I missing that? Maybe I've conflated.
Allocation of
$30,000?
You might be looking at the old staff report from 2014.
Okay, is that what it is?
There was a
Okay.
budget allocation along
And
with
that was what the water connection that you spoke of. Okay, perfect.
okay.
Thank you. I was like,
Yeah, that was just included as an attachment for historical context.
perfect. Thank you, Doug.
I do have one more question.
Yeah.
Given what we are thinking might be permanent structures that would be included as the plan for this 10-year, looking at what infrastructure is needed for that, is it a major interference from the intended use of this lot that you can think of?
In terms of the infrastructure needed to service any building on the site?
Any permanent building that would be built during this 10-year period?
I think outside of, the streetscape's relatively new and modern. We would have to change with some other use, I imagine, in terms of access to the site, but it's got water, so in terms of a deviation from that, I don't think there would be any extra city required infrastructure associated with retaining the urban farm on a permanent basis or transitioning it to a redeveloped use. But I'll let the city manager clarify that if he needs to.
That's all correct. I think I'll just add that anytime, let's just back up and say if the council directed staff to either, go with the request that the tenant has for a long-term lease or the option that is pursuing a lease with a payment. So I understand the tenant's intent would be to submit to the city building plans, just like any other project. And in that process, we would take a look at, where the connections are. Does it have, the one that comes to mind is sewer connections. I'm not sure where the property is on that. But we know it definitely has water. And like Doug said, it has site improvements or frontage improvements that would, not be a huge obstacle. But that's all part of the development process. It would be no different if housing got built there. We do the same process with the applicant to determine where the connections are, what improvements need to be made.
Last question.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, and at least I probably will have questions after public comment, by the way. Appreciate you wanting us to get them all out before.
Yeah.
The I Street Bridge, I'm just curious how that factors into this property. Is it not a factor at all?
I think it is a factor to the extent that it's along C Street, which is the connection to the new I Street Bridge, and presumably more access and more travel through that corridor. And the hope is obviously, right, economic development in that corridor. So that is how it factors in, but it's not a factor in terms of the size of the space or anything like that.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
All right, are we ready for public comment? Sure. All right, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Doug.
Alejandro Resendez.
You each have 3 minutes.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Alejandro Resendez. I'm a graduate from UC Davis. I study sustainable agriculture and food systems, and I am the farm manager of Three Sisters Gardens, previously assistant farm manager. And I want to start off by sharing my experience of this past month, April. So I took on the duties of becoming the farm manager. It was a lot of hurdles, but it was, I answered the calling, right, for the community, for my future, for what I believe in. And something else that happened in April was that I visited elementary schools, a part of the Washington Unified School District, and I gave presentations to them on behalf of Three Sisters Gardens. So I gave 4 in-class presentations and 2 assemblies with many students, alongside my team members, Nancy and Isaac, who are here today. And giving these presentations was monumental, right? We're teaching young kids about working with the land, getting them something that's happening in their community. So local urban farm, things that are happening in their community, and it's very important for them to see their community members stepping up and helping, giving away vegetables, growing vegetables. When we did those presentations, I took some veggies and I was pulling them out of the veggie bag. This is what we give out to our community members. I gave out a cauliflower. Their eyes opened. When youth get excited over veggies, that's something special. And so a building on our 5th and C Street farm means that it will be a teaching space for future generations. So a building is an introduction or continuation to higher learning in sustainable agriculture, food system studies, environmental, climate, natural resource studies, Native American studies. This is something that Yolo County needs. This is something that West Sacramento needs. I'm from Woodland. I wish I had this in Woodland. This is something very unique, and the exact placement of it is right where it needs to be. So before I finish up here today, I want to share a quote written to me by my grandfather and author, Juan Resendez, and embodied by my other grandfather and former bracero, Arnulfo Aguilar. Los agricultores son los fundadores de la civilización. Agriculturalists are the founders of civilization. Thank you.
Thank you.
And your council member is here, Woodland.
Isaac F.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Isaac. I'm a farmhand at Three Sisters Garden. I wanted to talk about what we do. I know the main things that would be put there if we didn't get our 10-year lease would probably be an apartment complex or something like that. But how is that more important? You know, we give out 40,000 pounds a year. You know, we feed hundreds of people daily. So what is an apartment going to do that's more than us? All we do is keep the community beautiful, you know, give jobs to youth. Like Alejandro said, my boss, we've been going to schools. All the kids that get excited for vegetables is crazy. You don't see that nowadays. We do a cohort group 3 times a year where we take in kids, high schoolers, and we teach them. We give them projects, take them to other farms in Sacramento, outside of Sacramento. So we do many great things. I don't see any reasons why we shouldn't get a 10-year lease, really. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Lexi.
Good evening, City Council. I'm Lexi. This farm has helped a lot of struggling families in my church. It actually has helped my partner Carl with the job for the past 5 years, and because of this farm, he was able to propose to me a couple months ago. And actually, last week on April 29th around 10 a.m., my Aunt Linda passed away from unexpected lung cancer. And that morning was very rough for me. If it weren't for the farm and all the kind words of the farmhands, I probably would have fallen into a deep depression. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. I'm sorry for your loss.
Samuel Ramos.
Hey, folks. I don't want to repeat myself too much up here. I've been up here before, but I've known Alfred close to a decade, and it's been a great opportunity to learn a trade, one of the most important trades, I will say. And I've seen so many people come and go through the farm, and it's great. And everybody here is younger than me, except Carl directly behind me, but yeah, it's great to see everyone learn the trade and provide these opportunities. I'm currently working at the farm again. I've left and came back multiple times, and it's a benefit to me as far as with the high cost of living at the moment, being able to just take organic vegetables home from my job is such a great benefit right now, especially in these times. And as far as the farm being able to be placed anywhere else, you're not wrong. There's dirt everywhere. But I believe the site itself is very refreshing to see for the community. Because besides the ballpark and the Riverwalk, what do the folks on that street have, you know what I mean, to benefit from? And then, like Isaac already said, 40,000 pounds, over 40,000 pounds last year. I mean, what better could we do with this land is all that I'm wondering. Yeah, thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you.
Matt Weaver.
Amen.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. This is really cool to see this agenda item get here. Watching the last few months of this item, researching it better, just have so much good things to say about the kids in this organization, or young people, I should say. They're probably not kids. I'm just old. I don't know the economics of what it means to give somebody a 10-year lease with 0 rent. And I think it's important, right, if we know about business, that we teach that part of the business to the people running a business. That's going to be really important for everybody to realize when we get out there in the marketplace. Running a business has costs. Now, that said, I think there's plenty of community support to subsidize a lease long-term or a place that these guys could call home long-term. I think that structure needs to be set out in real economic numbers, like the city or foundations or developers are willing to pitch in blank to help this organization have a permanent home where they can put a structure, where they can do all these things. If it's this location, great. If it's somewhere else, great. I think the city taking a position of how much do we want to help is like a black and white number that we need to reconcile. But something I'd say is, did this group add equity to the city's balance sheet? Right? They've been here for 12 years. What was the growth in equity by these folks protecting the land? Now, that's a benefit to the city already. If we do that for 10 more years, that's a benefit to the city also. But there might be an offset in cost, theoretically, if someone, theoretically, wanted to develop it to do something else. There's a loss in value. We don't know. That's all very hypothetical. But I think these guys want something simple, which is certainty. Where can we propagate this vision into the future? We know getting permits in the city's hard enough if you don't have a lease. Seems like what they're asking for is logical, right? It's either here or somewhere else, a permanent home, a place to do their good in our community. I see nothing but good coming from what they're doing, but I do think the city needs to kind of get black and white. What are we willing to put behind this? What's our benefit? I think we're benefiting as much as it's costing us, but no one's presented any numbers. In order to make a business decision, you actually need numbers. So I'd encourage numbers to be evaluated and then decide, what's the city investing here? What's the city benefiting? And then help get these guys the home that I think all of us want to see them get.
Thank you, Matthew.
Myra Vega.
Hello, Councilwoman.
Hello. Good evening, Mayor Guerrero, Councilwomen. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. And yes, Alejandro, I am your council member in Woodland, and I also wish we had this type of program in Woodland. So I have.
Why don't you lower the podium? It'll be so much easier for you to speak instead of trying to reach.
And hopefully you tell us why you don't have it.
I tell you why we don't have it. So I'm going to share a little bit about what we do have in Woodland and how I've been, it's been such a privilege to get to know about this program and everything that it's doing. So in Woodland, we have, some of our schools have gardens that are largely managed by the parents, and it's the one parent or the two parents, and over time, as the kids get older, they end up moving on, and the gardens are displaced. There isn't a lot of programming around it that we have. Each school, and as you all know, having children in school, that it's a lot on the teachers or on the parents. So there isn't a lot of programming that is available. So what ends up happening, and I've shared this with Alfred, that I've seen, sadly, beautiful red chiles just grow ripe and drop and then get left uneaten, which is really a big shame. The city of Woodland does have a demonstration garden, and it's beautiful, and it's just a demonstration garden, right? So we definitely have a more opportunity to do that. I mean, you all know as well as I do, food insecurity is going to be a big problem. What I love about this program is how passionate the folks that are there are about going in and working in the soil and growing food that can feed their families or other families in need. That's really special, right? We are in Yolo County, we always talk about our farms, and most of the time I hear about our rural farms, but here you have these urban farms that are very special, and my background is in healthcare. We have a big problem with isolation and loneliness, right? So We heard one of the farm hands here talk about how this farm provides an opportunity to build community and support. We need that. Our youth need that. Our family need that. You all have a decision to make, and what I just want to share is how special I believe this program is, and whether it's at this location or somewhere else, that's for you all to decide what is the best. But what I hope you all keep in mind is how critical now it seems part of the DNA and who you are here as a culture in Broderick and in West Sac. And I hope to continue to see this grow. And hey, maybe I can convince folks in Woodland to, maybe Alfred can come over and give some consulting over how we can do that. Because this is a great model of bringing community together to feed folks and train them to be future farmers. So thank you. Good evening.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Alfred Melbourne.
Can you pass it out to you guys? No.
You can give it to the clerk.
Okay, cool. So I got this big picture here, you guys, and I don't want to block myself, but I want you guys to be able to see it. So my name's Alfred Melbourne. I'm the founder and director of Three Sisters Gardens. And I want to thank the city council and city manager, those folks that had the foresight and wisdom to get behind the urban farm program in West Sacramento. And the Center for Land-Based Learning, of course, for leading the charge when they did. And so essentially what we did was we took the ball and kept running with it. Once we were a part of the incubator program, we seen the benefit that we could have within our community, supporting the at potential high promise youth, and revitalizing these what were once blights or eyesores in our community. And that leads me to recall the question around, can you just pick up and go somewhere else? Sure, we could. But that would negate the fact and take away from the soil organic matter that we have invested in, and that's soil equity. And so I give you an example. If you took a handful of seeds and just went and threw them out in the field and added water to them, they would probably grow, right? But they wouldn't grow as healthy as if you were taking care of the soil, building it up over years so that when you did plant something in there, you probably wouldn't have to water as much because the soil organic matter will retain that water. So it also creates a space where you're holding water in the community and putting water back into the underground rather than just watching it roll off the top and just go away, right? And so we talk about the environmental aspects of what we can do with the program and what we've been able to build up there at 5th and C. It's been a huge investment on our part, and it would be difficult to go start somewhere else, not just because of the the science behind it and the hard work, but we have an emotional attachment. There are many people that have come from far, from around the world to come and see what it is we're doing and look to West Sacramento as leaders in this urban agriculture. The many youth that we have come through our farm, not just from everywhere else, but especially right here in West Sacramento, River City, from Stonegate, from all the different presentations we do. I think that some of the youth talked about the things that we're doing, and Alejandro did as well. But we can increase that. We can do more. We can show further out right here underneath the eye of the Capitol how we've created a model that other people come to and want to learn. So I can appreciate what Myra said, that yes, we would love to consult. 99.9% of what we do, we donate for free, you guys. And we do that because we've been able to hustle and reach folks. So with this opportunity at 5th and C, we have a great opportunity with the Yochadihi Wintu Nation, Doyotu Dakama, I think, partnership level to help move this site forward. So we look to City Council, to City staff, manager, and you guys to see fit to give us an opportunity to expand our program, especially as food prices are going to go up and we're in a still climate catastrophe and a global pandemic, you guys. Food is medicine. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alfred.
There are no additional requests to speak on item 17.
All right, bringing it back, closing the public comment, bringing it back to council. Are there any comments, questions, thoughts among the council members?
A few thoughts.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yes, council member Early.
So a couple things. One, I'm so appreciative to be able to have Three Sisters Garden providing the services that it does throughout our entire community. I think having the urban farm at 5th and C really is a bright light for our community and for Broad and Bright. My kiddo has gone to Elkhorn, since kindergarten, so it's been, 6-7 years or so. And it was always just so great to be able to drive by and see young people out there farming. Alfred, I'd often see you early in the morning as I'm trying to rush through traffic, really putting your sweat equity into the land. And so I'm appreciative, one, that it exists and that we are continuing to be able to support it in the way that the city does. I do not know and cannot really fully realize or anticipate what is going to happen when I Street Bridge comes. That's just a reality. And so for me, I have some hesitation in committing to a 10-year lease, particularly around the RENA and some of the other just statewide policies that we can't get around, but also not knowing what is going to happen with that is a big commitment. I hear the tie to the land and and everything that has been put in, and I think it's a bigger, larger discussion of what happens if we were just to say, hey, let's just give this land over. And I agree with some of the public comment we heard around the investment and what that means, just dollars and cents, and the potential of what the other investment could be, whether it be for other social services like housing, like we talked about, in light of I Street Bridge. And I think that is the dilemma that I see here, but want to make sure that we are continuing to be able to invest in it. So one, that's thought number one. Thought number two is really, I don't just say this in jest, you do have a council member here from another jurisdiction who we heard also public comment of, hey, I would love to have something of this size and this scope in my community. I would go beyond just consulting, quite frankly, Alfred. You have someone here who is willing to go to bat for you in Woodland and would strongly suggest that it not just be an inspiration, but that's also an opportunity to potentially get Woodland to invest in something like this. Because again, drive through Woodland all the time on many of the county boards I sit on, and there's some opportunity there. And agree, if the only garden you have is a demonstration garden and one run by PTOs, there's ripe for opportunity. So appreciate you coming here and advocating. I would also ask that you go to your own community and do that same work. And so that's what I would say.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, thank you. I have a lot of thoughts about this. Alfred, I've been out to Three Sisters. I'm trying to see you over there. I've been out to Three Sisters several times. It's a joy to drive by, and it's wonderful to hear from everybody and the investment that's made in the community. It's a beautiful space, and great work is being done. I struggle with the 10-year lease with the concept of permanent structures going on land that's zoned for something else, and the comment of it ultimately becoming an urban farm in perpetuity, and what that looks like for that neighborhood. Housing is a huge, it's, one of the number one concerns that we have, not only in West Sacramento and California, and this space is zoned for housing, which I think is really important. When you're looking at vibrant mixed-use neighborhoods, having a mixed use of spaces is very important. And so when I see a corner like this, and we talk about highest and best use and what should be there, maybe it's not now, but at some point, we talk about mixed-use neighborhood commercial, West Sacramento's beautiful at dreaming big. Like, look at what the Bridge District has become when we invest in these unique spaces and we do infill development. And one of the other concerns I have is the precedent we set in policy. I'll be put my cards on the table. The Wonder Grove has come to us, and they're another nonprofit that wants space for their outdoor children's museum. Why wouldn't this be outdoor space for a children's museum that could do great things in the community? And if we were doing free leases of land for 10 years, would we go to an RFP process to find out what the best nonprofit is? None of that feels right. And so, when we look at, and the three options that staff have given us, ultimately there could have been the fourth option as well, that we actually decide to develop this land and we end the relationship. And, the time's not for that. and Alfred, we've had this conversation about the vision for that neighborhood and where we see things going. I think you guys are doing incredible work. I think Councilman Early made some incredible points about the connection to the land, and thank you for bringing that up. I Street Bridge is a huge element of what this space looks like when we're imagining what the future of this neighborhood looks like. A 10-year lease and then building permanent structures ultimately creates an urban farm in perpetuity, and that is not what this space in this neighborhood was built for. And so, you know, I would move forward with option 3.
Councilmember Orozco.
Over the last several years, I've had the opportunity to visit the farm on multiple occasions. I think it's undisputed that this program and all of the people who have come before this council year after year have made a tremendous and indelible impact and impression on the complexion of this community. There is no one that can come up before us and say that Three Sisters Gardens and the output and the outcomes that you have invested in and delivered is not of tremendous value. As a woman who is invested in a first or second priority of maintaining her own health, plant-based eating is something I do on the daily, and it's a culture that my family has adopted in support of my own health goals. So I visit farmers markets every week, sometimes multiple times a week, in order to ensure that my kitchen is green. I need it fresh. I want it farm to park. I want it, farm to fork. I want it on my table, farm to table, and local is incredible. So first of all, let me just acknowledge the tremendous efforts of the young people who have invested their night to be here tonight, and those who have come before you, who it's unusual and it's remarkable to see that kind of change. The leadership, the transformative experience that you've relayed to us, the lives touched, the lives changed, and the trajectory being so bright is something that is very unique to West Sacramento. So you have created something incredible. That, to me, goes without saying. I appreciate the operations, the mentorship, and the commitment to healthy living. That has been a common thread throughout this entire evening, is how do we make West Sacramento the healthiest place to live and grow and learn and thrive. So with that said, I could hear testimony about the value of this program, and that would not change my mind. This program is incredibly valuable to our community. I think the analysis, though, is not upon whether or not this program is valuable. I think that's undisputed. I think we should just take that and take judicial notice of value. However, I do got to say that one of the speakers tonight did make a very valid point, which is it's very hard to quantify the future use of a particular parcel of land when it is actually zoned for some other type of use, and yet it's been offered free of use for several years for the purpose of creating this type of, I think it started as an experiment, and we have proven to this community what we can create by investing in pilot programs like that. Okay, we have Woodland here tonight, who is considering replicating this type of model there. That is a win already. But the question still stands, because it's not just an academic one. We don't have numbers. We don't have solids in front of us. We have a theoretical and an intended plan. It was always intended to be temporarily used because it was intended for a different purpose. And tonight, it's a question of whether or not, number one, we can replicate this in our own city. If there are other potential locations that this could thrive, I believe that they are thriving already throughout the city in lots of ways. That's not to diminish the argument made and presented to this council. I do have a question, and that's to Mr. Droz. Is there a possibility that staff could be at hand and offer resources to help identify other locations, were it to be this council's priority to consider the original intended use of 5th and C?
Yeah, we could definitely sort of, I think, reinvigorate the urban farm program. I think the project started over a decade ago, and as you've said, these farms have proven successful, and so we at the city have not been, as hands-on as maybe we once were in that, but I think I can comfortably say we have the capacity to get a little bit more involved and assist in that, the process that you're describing.
Well, to me, that matters. The arguments are certainly separate. It's a question of not the value, but what this intended use is and how we as a council make this analysis. Ultimately, I feel like the model is right. I think it's one that's good for our city. I think it's one that's good for our children. I hope that all children have the opportunity to eat fresh vegetables on their tables every single night. And I am pleased to see that the organization has contributed to this type of behavior, and I hope that it continues to be part of the West Sacramento culture. With that, thank you, Madam Mayor, for allowing me to present comments.
Thank you, council member. Any other comments before I contribute my comments? No? Okay. Well, I have to say that I have been very impressed, been knowing Alfred since the beginning of his farming days, so along with somebody else who spoke here, 10 years. And I too went out and contributed some sweat equity and helping to build, I think, what the first farm was, that first little piece of land. And it was, I brought my grandson out. He came out and also started working the land, and got a chance to hear from Alfred on his vision. He's not done yet. I know that, but it is, he's still young. He's got a lot of years ahead of him and a huge following since then, which I've been so impressed to watch, and what we've accomplished over the years in, supporting this growth in our own way, allowing you to continue to farm, but you've evolved. And what happens in our community is when you allow an opportunity to open up, we can't be stagnant. We can't be maintaining what number 3 is, status quo. We have to adapt. When you allow someone whose past and history and his experience on the land transform the lives of others, and also helped give back, providing food on the table. I myself, growing up with my twins, it wasn't a time when what they call food stamps. I didn't have access to food stamps, and I didn't know anything about pantries, and we didn't eat healthy foods. We had the basic spaghetti and enchiladas every single day, but no fresh fruits. But it was hard. It was hard times, and if we had something like this in the community, especially how transparent and accessible that you are, to help have people come in and grow their own food, but also give back to others. That's what breeds compassion, kindness, humility, and like the councilwoman said, eliminates loneliness and brings a community together to support one another through hard times. Although not perfect, but it works. I know. And sometimes I feel like we as council members have to take a risk when we are given an opportunity, a gift, a challenge, whatever you want to call it. We heard from Matt, equity. And that is something that I am supportive of. I do want to support where we have, and I know this is a workshop and we're not making any decisions, so my recommendation would also be to take a look at a future for Three Sisters Garden, where it continues to grow and evolve. There is no vote today. We each get to give our ideas on what we'd like to see. But also for staff, as you've heard probably from maybe 2 of us, to see how we can continue to replicate this, not only in Woodland, but here locally, among landowners who are not doing anything for years with their land, and to see them make some investments themselves instead of keeping those lands vacant and a nuisance, and we can have what we have in Three Sisters Garden, if that's okay with you. I didn't hear, because I did ask, but I didn't hear you say you were interested in that, but I hope you are. And, just, take your time in taking a look at this possibility and, coming back to us with some ideas. But also, include the possibility of a 10-year and what that looks like, more details. Include also in writing what I heard tonight was, yes, this land has been, available, but it was not ever included to be for sale, or it's not like anybody's coming in and knocking on our door to buy it, to build housing on it. Nobody's done that lately. I think there's a lot of respect and appreciation among everybody that sees what it does and wants to preserve that. I don't think it's, I think our RENA needs are being, we have them, but we got a lot of land accessible for that, from what I heard tonight. And the vision of where we started and its evolution to where we can go is a possibility that I'm hoping we can adapt to. And so, given that we have all these options, taking a look at number one with a little more, a little more information inside on what that would look like for the future of Three Sisters Garden, so that we can maintain the equity and appreciation for all the hard work that the followers of those that have been there and the teachers and giving back to the community. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. My grandson went on a little bike ride today, and he brought back something, and he goes, I brought back lemons, and so I didn't see, and it was in the sink. He was going to wash them. I overheard it, came in, and I see these big old grapefruits. And I'm like, oh my God, who got these grapefruits? Where did you get these things? Oh my God, Grandma, they're lemons. He said, no, those are grapefruits. He goes, I hate grapefruits. I said, put it back, and God, I hope you didn't pluck some big tree. So, yes, we need to teach our children what's the difference between a grapefruit and a lemon. And I appreciate all you do to go into the schools and to educate our children, and continuing to nurture that curiosity, that interest, and that spark to give back to the community like you've done. And that's what I want to see. I want to see more of this here in West Sacramento, if we can continue to build on that. Not, maybe fourth option, expansion to other properties. If we can include that, that would be great. All right. Is anything else? Nope. All right. You have it? You have it? Do you have enough information?
Sorry. Yes, we received sufficient direction. Thank you for that.
All right. Thank you so much for all your work and everybody here representing Three Sisters Garden. Next is item 18, consideration of adoption of a resolution 26-28 approving the adoption of a policy regarding disruption of service impacting public two-way remote participation during a city council meeting. Madam Clerk.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for your time this evening. I am here to present to you Resolution 2628, approving the adoption of policy regarding disruption of service impacting public two-way remote participation during city council meetings. October of 2025, Senate Bill 707 was passed or was signed into law. SB 707 makes major amendments to the Brown Act. These are the most substantial amendments that the Brown Act has seen in decades. One of the aspects of this amendment establishes a subcategory of legislative bodies called eligible legislative bodies. West Sacramento City Council is eligible body because it's a city council of a city with a population of 30,000 residents or more. So related to the establishment of this new legislative body, we're required to provide the public with the ability to attend meetings in a two-way participation manner, either audio-visual or just telephonic via the internet. Also, July 1st, 2026, this comes into effect, and related to that, the City Council must adopt a policy addressing procedures for recessing and convening meetings in the event of a disruption of telephonic or internet services that provide the public's ability to attend or observe the meeting. So attached is a draft policy that we've created. It's been reviewed by the city attorney and assistant city manager Berlin. That establishes a procedure of what the city council will do if there is a disruption in service that we're providing to the public to participate in our meetings. We've selected Zoom as our platform, and we're putting that into place. So the policy basically says that in the event of a disruption of service, the city council will be notified by a staff member, probably me, and immediately upon notification, the city council must call the meeting to recess. The recess must last at least 1 hour as staff makes a good faith effort to restore service. Upon an hour, the city council can adopt a finding that a good faith effort has been made and that the importance of the meeting outweighs the public's ability to participate two-way remotely. So upon adopting that finding, the city council can continue with their meeting. If the finding is not adopted, the city council meeting must be adjourned. So we are asking you today to adopt Resolution 2628, approving the policy establishing procedures for the city council when there is a disruption of telephonic or internet services during an open session meeting of the city council that prevents the public's ability to attend or observe a meeting via two-way remote participation.
Thank you, Madam
Thank you.
Clerk. I'm going to close it, open it up for public comment. No request to speak at this point, Madam Clerk? Nope, all right, closing that, bringing it back to you because you're here. I have a question. How much is this going to cost?
Right now, it's costing staff time. It's mostly staff time and the cost of a bulletin board. We already had the Zoom platform from COVID. It took some time for IT and I think a consultant came in and helped him connect everything so that the Zoom is connected to the cameras in here, and that's what will the audience participating remotely will see.
Okay. And we'll be able to see the person on our screen?
No.
Oh.
They will not be visible.
Oh, they'll, okay, that's fine.
I have just one question.
Sure, go ahead, Councilmember.
Okay,
O'Connor.
I know I've been in other meetings where they've had Zoom, and sometimes when too many people come on, how many are we able to realistically have on a Zoom without it, and that's when it collapses, that's why I'm just wondering.
I believe our current license allows 500 people. There is an opportunity to purchase a more substantial license that has unlimited participation, but right now we don't see the need for having to do that.
I think so. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm good.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you so much for the presentation. I think we need to take
Early
action.
moves.
Second.
All right, Councilmember Early moved and Councilmember Alcala seconded. Madam Clerk, when you get to your seat, if you can please call the roll. Oh, somebody's there. Please call the roll. Madam Clerk, number 2.
Councilmember Alcala?
Aye.
Councilmember Early?
Aye.
Councilmember Orozco?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Sulpicio Hall?
Aye.
Mayor Guerrero?
Aye. Thank you so much. And I think we have another item here. Item 19 is a public hearing to consider objections to the proposed removal of weeds, and our fire marshal. Please come on up.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Yes, Brian Johnson, your fire marshal. On April 15th, the council adopted a resolution, and thank you, that kickstarted our seasonal weed abatement program. Since that date, we've noticed over 1,000 property owners, notifying them of their obligation, responsibility to maintain their property. It is respectfully recommended tonight that we open and conduct this public hearing to hear comments or objections, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Just a quick one.
Councilmember Alcala?
I've received from some of the constituents, I'll just say there's a house in the area that has an incredible amount of weeds. They're in the backyard, in the front yard. I believe code enforcement has been out there various times, but still nothing's happening.
Well, I can't comment on those specific not knowing, and I work with Josh Hurley, our code enforcement manager, pretty closely, and we kind of have defined responsibility with regard to weed abatement, if you want to call it. residential complaints and issues are handled in his shop. Essentially, I handle all the undeveloped property, which represents about 40% of the property in West Sacramento.
Okay, so how high would the weeds have to be before they become a problem?
On a lot within my responsibility, I believe our standard is 8 inches, I believe.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not very high.
I want to be clear, I think you were asking about residential property, though, like a
Right.
single-family home.
Yeah, for residential, I don't have any input or establish any requirements for, that's the code enforcement division handles all of those issues and complaints.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Orozco.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for presenting as you do every year. This year, I received a personal notice from a longstanding resident in the community. Apparently, there are a lot of folks that have been living here for a long time that get these abatement notices. I know this is part of the job. I just wanted to make sure that I personally turn this over to USERTH so that way we could have the personal matters addressed. Because I think it's important for us all, number one, to educate our community about what the peril is to the community should we not abate the problem, right? It's not just a matter of tall weeds because it's an eyesore. And there are circumstances where folks might be elderly or unable in some way to abate the problem in their communities. We would love to have that type of communication so that way we can assist in any particular way, even with a volunteer effort. I know every year we have volunteers that are looking for things to do in the community. Maybe this is something that we can organize for them. But at the same time, it's important to have the communication go both ways so that way it's not only, sometimes it's something on our end that we need to be more aware about, or we got the tenant wrong or whatnot. So I just wanted to make sure I was doing my due diligence by providing this to you, sir.
Sure.
That was personally given to me. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Nothing further.
And for the record, regarding this letter, I created a letter and put it in the mail yesterday, actually, to Mr. and Mrs. Kane addressing their.
Of course you
Yeah.
did. Thank you so much.
I
Absolutely.
think we all got that one. Okay, open it up for public comment, Madam Clerk. Are there any requests to speak?
We have no request to speak on this item.
All right, thank you. Bringing it back to council. Public hearing. That's it. We're done. We got the public hearing done.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Excellent, thank you. Keep doing the hard work of keeping our community safe from these weeds. All right. Next, under General Administration Function Part 2, do we have any reports on council assignments? Any report? Councilmember Alcala.
Well, I attended Cap to Cap. I saw the mayor there, and I believe I saw also Corina Roscoe and Councilmember Corina Roscoe and Councilmember Cepizio Hall. So I believe we were all on different committees. Committees I served on were the flood control committee, as well as the ag. So it was a really busy time for me because I kept having to, run across from Senate to the where the Congress is, the representatives, and the senators are. There were 7 meetings, and what was very good on the flood committee was it didn't look like there was going to be any cuts whatsoever to that budget. I didn't understand there to be any, so that was a relief to hear. Where there was concern was when I was on the Ag Committee. We talked about cuts to many programs, like the SNAP program, and cuts to programs where seniors rely on these meals, like what is it? I know my mother has
Meals on
taken
Wheels?
Meals on Wheels, thank you. And it was very concerning over some of the cuts that we understand are going to be there. And I think one of the most important things is we have some very good champions, such as our mayor, who has made a lot of impact in Washington. Because when I was there, people were asking about her and the way things were handled here in West Sacramento. So it was a lot of fun as well. I got to see a lot of the Washington sites. And that's about all for my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Alcala. Any other updates? Yes, Councilmember Early.
Early. So I have, since our last meeting, gone to a couple of meetings for CARTA. I think 3 in the past 2 weeks. One of which was interviewing for the executive director of the Capital Area Regional Tolling Authority. We put in a lot of time and investment. My colleague from the county, Supervisor Villegas, chairs that particular group body, and had done already a good job of interviewing with Councilmember Josh Chapman from Davis, a lot of the candidates that had applied. And so we filtered it down to 4 really, really great candidates. In our meeting, our last meeting at CARTA, we actually chose a candidate. I don't think it's been announced yet who that candidate is, but we did announce that a decision had been made. And I'm really excited about that individual and looking forward to that announcement. At our CARTA meeting, we also approved the first drawdown from the loan from City of West Sacramento. And so that work has started as well to be able to continue to invest in and build the tolling authority, which will allow it to be up and running by 2028. So those are the main things.
Thank you. Councilmember Orozco.
Thank you. Really quick, I attended the River City Stadium Finance Authority meeting this past week on behalf of the City of West Sacramento. Myself, Oscar Villegas, and Supervisor Patrick Kennedy all sat. We received the Treasurer's report for calendar year 2025. This report is presented on an annual basis to provide the authority some key information about the finances of the ballpark and how it relates to the different financing agreements that were put in place related to the bonds that were issued. There are a number of measures put in place to ensure that the authority and the purchases of the bonds are protected. And to protect the authority, a number of reserves were established in order to minimize the likelihood that the River City Stadium Finance Authority were ever unable to make the required debt service payment. The SBH Baseball LLC's audit and consolidated financial statements were completed on March 25th, 2026 by their independent auditor, Ernst & Young. Per the audit and financial statements, the reserves were funded as specified under the lease agreement, and there was no instance of default or confirmation of payment of the annual debt service obligations. And as of December 31st, 2025, the revenue bond, which funds the debt service payments, reported a balance of $2.739 million. The substantial portion of these stadium revenues flow to a lockbox from which they're distributed on a 50-50 basis to the River City Stadium Finance Management for operations expenses and the bond trustee for payment of debt service. Funds are then sent to the trustee and used used first for bond service and then to fund the supplemental reserve requirements. And then the additional funds are returned to the RCSM for stadium operations. As of December 31st, 2025, the supplemental reserves for a guaranteed payment account and the attendance-based account remain fully funded with balances of $3.5 million and $0.22 million, respectively. On other notes, the stadium is doing very well. The A's have welcomed a wonderful new season, and River Cats not far behind them. Attendance is a little bit lower at the River Cats given the A's new welcome to West Sacramento. Of course, that would likely be temporary, but we do want to encourage people in West Sacramento to get out and wear that maroon and support our River Cats. That's our local team. Let's go. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Pleased to report, we had staffing changes too at the Yellow Habitat Conservancy. We just recently hired an executive director, Kathy Little. She's been with us about 3 weeks. I had the opportunity to meet her today when we reviewed our budget. Working with the county right now on our MOU to determine how much additional staffing will be available to the YHC. Staff is doing the work right now, working with the county on that right now. And so we're hoping to come to an agreement very soon so that Kathy has the support she needs to execute the Conservancy's duties. And I too attended Cap to Cap. I was on the Civic Amenities team. Really great opportunity to visit Nationals Park and see what a redevelopment of a waterfront MLB park looks like. That was incredible. But I will tell you the highlight was we were asked to speak on the Tourism Improvement District. And I pulled in the city manager, and we had a great conversation at one of the opening sessions about the Tourism Improvement District, the development in the Bridge District, and everything that we're imagining for the future of our waterfront. So thank you, Aaron, for participating with me on that.
All right. City met with the school district in our 2x2 on Monday, and Mayor Pro Tem joined me in that meeting. We talked about where the Little West Sac Little League can play, especially during the time when Bright Park is under construction. We explored 1100 Clarendon Street, and there'll be, continued discussions to see whether that's a good fit for expansion, but I know it's an ongoing discussion. Our West Sac Little League is continuing to present to us the challenges of the limitations that we have in our city for space for our Little League to be able to not only play, but practice. So yes, it is in the forefront. Our staff are working hard on that. Washington Unified School District also presented that they have an update in their immigration board policy, and we also shared that we're working on ours, and we'll exchange that as it comes. In addition, I shared that Mayor's Play Ball is going to happen on June 6th. We're encouraging everybody to get their kids to sign up. It is, Rivercat players will be there, and the A's, it's a joint Rivercat A's, and it'll happen at Alice Norman, June 6th. I think it starts at 10 a.m., but you can sign up online, and we'll socialize that information. And that is all I have for that. Let's see. What do we have? Oh, yes, Cap to Cap. I also participated in Cap to Cap, joined in 2 committees, Transportation and Flood Protection. Thank you, Councilmember Alcala freed me up so I can go to Transportation. We didn't have coverage there. Very important reason. The reason why that's very important is because we have the I Street Bridge funding that we need to accomplish, and the notification that we had shortly before our presence at DC. I was already trying to line myself up for meetings. So that did give us an opportunity to present to our Congress members that this is a very important issue for funding. And I think we are continuing to work with Sac City, the lead agency on this, to figure out what we can do. We have, I think, a clock that's ticking on the current bid. And that bid, we have a little more extra time, thankfully, to be able to work on financing. But we have a huge gap. We need federal, state, everything on the table to get this funded and to get creative to try to get this bridge built. The longer we wait, the more expensive it'll be. That's the challenge. So that's kind of like the consequence of us waiting so long at this point. And we are experiencing that situation. So with that, next is our City Council calendar.
Hi, good evening. Just a reminder that Tuesday, May 19th is our ribbon cutting for Washington Park. That's at 10:30. And then on Thursday, May 21st is the State of the City.
We also have, there's something else happening at Heritage.
They changed the calendar on the 20th.
Yes, there's a reflexology path.
Oh, it's a new date
formation.
altogether. I thought it was a time. Oh, sorry.
Yes, it's been moved to the 20th of May.
20th? Okay, good. So that's a Wednesday morning? All right.
Correct.
Wednesday morning.
Madam Berlin, can you, I'm sorry, when was the Washington Park? One more time?
The Washington Park ribbon cutting is Tuesday, May 19th at 10:30 a.m.
Thank you very much.
Okay. City Manager report.
Yes, just wanted to point out, in case you hadn't noticed, the strategic plan posters are now plastered throughout City Hall. We made the transition to 2026. But more notable, wanted to let you know that last week we had 2 sessions for all staff to attend in this room. An update from myself, a couple other staff participated as well. I would say they were very well attended. There's a lot of interest on staff in what the council does with the strategic plan process, and highlighted about 10 or so of the items and gave them a lot of background on how the plan is constructed, the work that you do behind the scenes to get there and kind of what the plan's all about in terms of being, the council's work plan for the year and our, my work plan in terms of the management agenda. So I believe we had in total, I don't want to be wrong on this, but it had to have been between 150 and 200 staff over the 2 days. So it was standing room only in this room the first day. So I just wanted to let you know that there's a lot of interest in what you do as a policy body. So
That's awesome.
May I ask, that was voluntary?
yes.
That is amazing.
Okay. I like this.
And it was I would say well represented across departments as well. That was encouraging. So not just
great.
our city hall departments.
Thank you for that update. City Attorney report?
Nothing to report.
Staff direction from city council members? Nothing? And we have a future agenda item that we'll be taking up.
Yeah, so there was a proclamation request from the mayor. I think you're talking about the one for, it was employee retirement?
Yes.
Yeah, so that'll be on the May 20th agenda.
Will that be 2 or 1? I chatted with the chief. I think it might be 2.
I'm aware of it'll be a proclamation for a retiree.
Retiree, okay.
Yes.
All right, sounds good. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.